Welcome to your real estate review with Alan Canis of Engel and Völkers, Silicon Valley, your weekly getaway to the pulsating heart of the global real estate market. Join us as we bring you exclusive interviews with top producing real estate agents from around the globe. Whether you're a buyer, a seller, or just a real estate enthusiast, this is your insider look into the pros, cons, and the captivating allure of the world's most sought after locations. Let's discover where your next dream home awaits. Buckle up for a real estate journey like no other. This is your real estate review with Alan Canis of Engel and Völkers, Silicon Valley. We have another real estate review with me, Alan Canis of Engel and Völkers, Silicon Valley. I want to welcome Ashley Inglis from Western Montana. Thank you for being on the show, Ashley. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Alan. It's a privilege to be here. I'm doing well. We had our first snowfall overnight, so that's always an experience.
I feel like in California when it happens, like in Tahoe, everybody just freezes for a moment and then goes back to the hustle and bustle. But
Yeah.
they need to shake it off first.
Yeah, we just need to let us defrost real quick.
Yes, snow is coming. We're going to dive right into it. And can I start by asking you to tell us a little bit about your background in real estate and how, when, and why you are in real estate?
Absolutely. So, believe it or not, I am a 3-year agent. Started very fast and furious. So I got into real estate, honestly, because of my son. I was struggling trying to get pregnant and I wanted to relieve some stress, although real estate brings its own stresses.
I
As
was like,
we all
wait a
know.
minute.
But different from my prior job. And so I really wanted to just shift things. And so he's kind of my why and why I continue to be bigger and better every day. So.
Oh, that's great. I owned my own company before getting into real estate. And I was in real estate for about 3 years, 4 years. And when our daughter came about, it was, what do I want to do? Do I want to stay in real estate? Is that the best option? But it really was because it afforded me the time to be able to spend with her. Because you can't get that time back.
You
So,
can't. No, that work-life balance, even though our world in real estate is crazy, you do have the ability to drop everything and
yeah.
take care of what you need to versus a traditional 9 to 5 job. Or for me, before real estate, I owned my own business as well, and it was very time consuming.
And speaking of your own business, what was it? What did you do before real estate?
As long as you don't laugh at me, I'll tell you.
I cannot make any promises, but I will try to keep a straight face.
So I had a very lucrative business with an MLM company called Paparazzi Accessories. I sold
Oh,
$5 jewelry in very large increments, just large quantity of $5 jewelry. To put it in perspective, my sales for the last year I was in my business was $250,000 of $5 jewelry. So that's a lot of
wow. That's a
capacity.
lot of jewelry.
This entire room that we're in was filled with thousands and thousands of pieces of jewelry. And that's why I got out of the business. It was very time consuming. I was constantly on my phone. I had to live my entire life on social media. So a lot of it was sticking my face in the phone and not being present. And that's why I shifted to real estate, was so that I could be present as much as I possibly could be.
And real estate affords that for us to be present, not only for our clients, but also our family.
Yes.
So multitasking with using this thing
And
is a,
boundaries.
yes. What my saying has always been, we're not saving lives, we're affecting them. And it doesn't have to be 24/7 because real estate isn't 24/7. It is typically just during normal business hours. But at 8 p.m., this gets turned off.
Yep.
It is actually in another room, unless I'm working on a transaction that needs it to be done right then and there. But those are far and in between, luckily.
I've got 2 phones. So
Oh, geez.
we've got the personal phone and we've got the work phone. So at the end of the day, after I pick my son up from daycare, this phone goes away and then I just have my personal. So yes, very important to keep that separate and creating
Yeah.
boundaries. I always tell any agent that's new into the industry is get that balance and keep those boundaries, because if you don't, you'll tend to burn out and overwork yourself very quickly.
And I was going to have two phones at one point. My husband says I still should have two phones, but I know what would happen. I would be consistently having the wrong phone.
I get laughed at and judged, but I was like, you know what? If I lose a phone, I have a backup. Like, you always have a backup. So sometimes we just want to lose our phones anyways in our life, but that's okay.
That's true. That's enough for another podcast.
Yes.
What are some of the unique features or attractions of Western Montana that makes it an appealing destination for people looking to relocate there?
So Yellowstone didn't hurt us. As I'm sure you know, that's my backyard. Where Yellowstone is filmed is the area that I live in and service. That Montana lifestyle really attracted a lot of people. Obviously, the room to do what you want to do. A lot of people relocated to have that country lifestyle, but also having the necessities and a drive. We had a lot of people relocate after COVID, more or less because a lot of people worked remote and it didn't matter where they lived, and they wanted to have that lifestyle that we all dream and wish. I'd like to say I'm originally from Montana. I'm not. I've been here for 7 years. I'm originally from New England, and we moved here for my husband's job. He's a professional fly fishing guide. And when I came to Montana, I came in dead winter. So if you can come to Montana and be in the dead of winter and still enjoy where you're at, you're exactly where you need to be.
I'm going to take a step, roll backwards. A professional fly fishing guide.
Yes, he gets to take people fishing for a living.
And that's what he must really love fishing.
He does, yes.
That's awesome.
Sometimes more than me, I think.
Maybe it depends on what he catches.
Yeah. Or what kind of clients he has, just like us, you know?
There you go. Yes. I know that there's a lot of buzz about Western Montana, and we're hearing, like you said, after COVID and Yellowstone, what is all the excitement about as to why they're relocating there?
Sure. So lifestyle, so the ability to have hunting, fishing, hiking, all of in your backyard within a quick drive. You have the ability to, go hike the mountains off grid, and you're not driving per half day to get there. It creates a different way of living. I think a way that most people wish they could just drop everything and do what they want to do. I really enjoy that part. And I think a lot of people love our weather here too. So we live in a semi-dry climate. Majority of our climate is very much similar to the rest of Northwest. However, we live for our summers. So we have really great summers. We have very minimal rain, which is a catch-22 because we have fire season. But a lot of people come to Montana because they want that luxury and freedom to do the things that they love to do and have that be in a close proximity, but also still grind and, be able to pay their bills.
Yeah. It's a balance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could be in Montana and work because it's so beautiful.
Well,
that would be tough
come and
for me.
visit.
Yes. I know what a lot of people are wondering is, how would you describe the real estate market in Western Montana? What trends should potential relocators be aware of?
So majority of my business is relocation. We are seeing a shift here in Montana where, we're having a lot of people come here for jobs. There's more job opportunities than ever, even from the 7 years that I've been here. We have expanded tremendously in the Missoula, Bitterroot Valley. It's definitely challenging. I always tell people, if you're okay with moving in the winter, do it, because you're up against less buyers, less competition, more sellers that are open to negotiation versus everyone waiting that, we have a traditional market where it's, spring and summer going into fall are our busier months, where for some other parts of the country, it's the opposite. So I always tell people, if you're okay with a little bit of snow and cold weather, come to Montana in the winter and, get the best bang for your buck. Otherwise, you are going to be up against a lot of competition because Montana is so sought after. there's definitely a lot more buyers in some other parts of the country.
I've been hearing more and more about that. So, what are some of the common challenges and pitfalls that people face when relocating to Western Montana, and how do you help them navigate these?
That differs obviously by clients. I think most part everyone wants the American Montana dream, but don't understand what the cost of that is. A lot of
Okay.
depending on where in Montana you want to be. If you want to be in Western Montana where I am, affordability can be difficult unless you're coming from another state that, you're well lucrative into your real estate, where you're transitioning from to be able to apply that here in Montana. It is very hard to be a first-time buyer if you're in Montana, again, in Western Montana. So just having an agent that can help you and coach you and help provide you with alternatives that may work for your budget now that you can invest in to be able to take that investment in a few years, be able to flip it and then get into a better home that may fit you better. So there's like a starting point and then an ending point.
Gotcha. I know sticker shock is big here in California, especially coming from the Midwestern states, for what you get for the dollar amount here as versus what you get for the dollar amount there is widely different. It's the sticker shock that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, in some sense, Montana is very similar to California. Actually, I just read something the other day that Montana is, aside from California, is one of the most expensive states to live in.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is like no one thinks that because we have so many little people compared to like how big our state is.
Yeah.
But it's just affordability.
Wow. Moving on up. Can you give us a sense of lifestyle in Western Montana?
Yeah, so we have a couple of different styles. Missoula is a college town. We have the University of Montana there. So you have that type of scene. You've got the college scene. We're big in our college football and all of our college sports. We have a hipster downtown area. We are very much so artistic and a foodie town. Whereas if you go down to the Bitterroot Valley where my office is located, it's more of a laid back country Western style. So it really all depends on where in Western Montana you are as far as what type of style you'll have. If you go up a little more north of Missoula, you have, the Flathead County, you've got Whitefish, Kalispell, much different market than here down in Missoula and the Bitterroot. So.
And what kind of amenities can a newcomer relocating expect?
If you asked me 7 years ago, I would say it'd be a lot different than now. We have, like I said, we've expanded quite a bit. Missoula, I think the last time I counted, I think we have like 13 grocery stores. So
Wow.
it's not like you have one grocery store and one pharmacy to pick, your goods up from. So there's a lot more diversity now. We have a Costco. We have the big box stores. But it's funny. It's like, people want to have that Montana lifestyle, but also have all the necessities there.
Yeah.
And Missoula really draws the picture for everyone for that, which is why I think it's such a beautiful place to live and a destination place, because people want to have those amenities, but also want to be able to go wade in the river and go fishing in the afternoon.
We have here, we have the big box companies. They're all over the place. But when we go up to our second home in Tahoe, they're there, but they're hidden. So you don't realize it, and you've got to drive a half an hour to it.
Yeah.
So our world is quickly changing. And I know we talked a little bit about climate, about the weather with snow. Can you tell us a little bit about the business climate, the economic climate of Western Montana?
Obviously, our busiest season is during our driest season. So, our summer is obviously our busiest season for all parts of the economy, because you have, again, because you live in such an outdoorsy type of lifestyle, all your, people that have jobs outdoors, that happens during that time. We, winter slows down, but we have our ski resorts. We have, the people that does landscape and then shift over to plowing. Our businesses, as far as like small businesses and big box stores, those all stay busy consistently because we don't have a lot of options to choose from. So as far as like an economic standpoint, I think that Missoula area is pretty strong in that sense.
Okay. And from your perspective, what are some of the top benefits for someone considering to move to Western Montana?
Our taxes.
That's it.
Yeah, we no sales tax, which is great. So I'm originally, like I said, from New England, and I lived in New Hampshire, and there was no sales tax there. So it was nice going from one state that didn't have sales tax to another state that didn't have sales tax. We have very small state taxes as far as income taxes, and then overall, I feel like our property taxes are fairly reasonable to other states.
Okay. Taxes is a big one.
Yes.
So that's it.
Registration. A lot of people will literally buy a piece of land in Montana just for business purposes, just because the amount of tax write-offs you have having a residence in Montana could be super beneficial for someone who may not have that type of benefit in the state that they live in.
We have a house in Tahoe on the Nevada side, so we take advantage of the taxes whenever we can. So I'm here because my business is here on the peninsula, Silicon Valley, and my husband's can be anywhere. That's so nice. His business is technically there, which works out. In what ways do you, as a real estate agent, provide value to someone relocating to your region that others don't?
So I feel like obviously having an understanding of what's important to people when they are transitioning and providing them the resources that they need. Each client, as you know, is very different. Each transaction is very different. So just getting an understanding and expectations of your clients and what they're looking for and presenting that to them before they ask you for it, and say, hearing them and listening to them and saying, we are in conversation, I heard you talk about you're going to need a great landscaper. Here's a list of landscapers I recommend. And just providing those resources for them without necessarily having them to ask. So being a good listener, I think that brings value. My resources, so outside of local resources, not just my local connections, but my connections with other agents globally. With Engel and Völkers, we have such a huge brand that I have all these other resources that I can help my clients with, even if it's not something they're looking for locally, such as maybe they have a house somewhere else that they need to sell and they need a recommendation. The groups that I'm a part of. So as you know, I'm a part of Realm. Realm is a huge benefit to our clients, especially again, if they're looking to showcase a property that may be a difficult property to have further reach, and just picking the right agent that can help give you those resources.
That's good information to give to people because it amazes me how many people will work with someone that doesn't listen, doesn't follow directions, will show them properties that either out of their price range or not what they're looking for. And I've asked the question, why do you continue to work with so-and-so? And the reason being is because they were either referred or they're afraid to switch real estate agents. Mm-hmm. And you're spending so much money. It should be how you need it. It should be that, I call it the Nordstrom experience.
Absolutely.
So what is one piece of advice, only one, you would give to someone who is thinking of relocating to Western Montana?
Be selective.
I like that. And I'm hearing the real estate market in Western Montana can be a little crazy. I've heard multiple offers, and I've also heard properties sitting. What do you think is causing it?
I think it has to do with our inventory count that we have now. We have more inventory on count than we've ever had before COVID. So there's definitely a lot more inventory for buyers to pick from. I think that as a buyer, you have the ability to go see a house and then maybe even see it for a second or third time before you make a decision. Days on market have increased significantly here in Montana because there's more inventory to choose from. I always recommend, especially if I'm on the list side, to give my clients an honest opinion of what I think their house will sell for and to be competitive. to trust me and my expertise to know that, they will net the most if they are strategic. And you see the ones that do have multiple offers, they do that because they are being strategic. They know that they have 40 or 50 other houses to compete with in the same price point and same, bedroom bath count. So you really have to stand out. And, giving your clients the education and understanding of that so that, they are in a better position and to essentially have the best outcome, whether you're on the buy side or the sell side.
And what I heard is education, and it gives your clients the best outcome.
Absolutely.
But they have to listen.
They have to listen. Yes, listen. Open your ears.
Yes. Where do you think most of your buyers are coming from?
So we have a huge influx of Californian clients. We have more Northern Californian than Southern. I think that most Southern Californians can't handle our winters, unless they came last year, but that wasn't really a winter, let's be honest.
Yes.
I think a lot of people that came here last year that are expecting the same outcome this year will be sadly mistaken and maybe putting for sale signs up, but that's what I'm here for. So
exactly. That you're the person to contact.
Yep. We have a lot of Northwestern clients coming in. So, Oregon and Washington State, some over on the East Coast, not so much down south. We do have some Texas clients as well, but mostly focusing, majority of the people are coming from that Northwest side of the country.
And how do you see Western Montana evolving in the next few years, and what impact might that have on new residents?
Well, if it continues to develop as it has been, I think we may be the next Denver, Colorado, which could be good or bad, depending on, who you talk to, because we are growing. Obviously, the amount of people being in the state and stuff is going to continue to increase. But I think that it all depends on who you're talking to. It could potentially create a lot more job opportunities. Yes, real estate is going to continue to get more and more expensive. I mean, just in the time that I've owned my house has significantly increased. You always hear people say, I'm just going to wait till next year to buy. Well, then they wish they didn't wait till next year. So I think that that is going to continue to be a ongoing situation in Montana where real estate is going to continue to be more and more valuable.
And I'm hearing more and more that Western Montana is becoming a foodie area and a destination for good food. Would you tell us a little bit about the culinary experiences that people could expect relocating?
Yeah, so obviously we have lots of ranches in Montana. So if you want a good steak, I know where to show you some different places. One thing that I think that, Montana could upgrade would be their seafood. Obviously, we're not on the coast, so we don't have that luxury. However, I think that is something that, especially in Missoula, that we're missing is a good seafood restaurant. But you can have, all different types of food. We've got our Indian food, we've got our Thai food, we've got our traditional American food, we have our Italian restaurant. There's just so many different types of food for everybody, aside from seafood.
I was told by another agent, a friend of mine, and she said that you really need a good Chinese restaurant.
Yes. Well, coming from the East Coast, I agree. It's just, I think it's more of an Americanized Chinese, not real Chinese, but the fake Chinese food. That and, I found a good couple pizza joints, but again, nothing makes it like, the New York pizza. You can't compete.
There's not, I remember my parents, the first time they went to New York, they called and it was, I think, midnight or 1 p.m. there. And they were sitting out on their balcony, and my mom says, "We're eating we got 2 slices of pie." And I went, "Okay, you're eating pie." She goes, "No, that's what they call pizza here." There's nothing like New York pizza.
There isn't.
Yeah. How do you think technology and online resources have impacted the way people approach living in Western Montana?
So I think that it creates an opportunity to expose Montana. I think that now that social media has become more of a place that people use for research, it definitely provides open doors for opportunities for people to look at and consider Montana that maybe they didn't even know where Montana was. They just saw like the big sky and be like, oh, I'd like to visit there someday. But giving people the opportunity to really explore and see what Montana has to offer. We have a little piece of Yellowstone in our state, but we have beautiful Glacier National Park. I honestly prefer Glacier National Park better than actually Yellowstone, just because it's just so beautiful in its own way. And I think that, when you look at social media and you see those, photos of the national parks and stuff like that, you're like, man, I want to visit that someday. It's nice that, social media has created an opportunity for people to visit Montana, but not necessarily be here in Montana.
One question was not on your list that I ask everybody that comes onto the show. What is your favorite, and if you don't mind sharing, real estate story? Do you have one story that you have favorite?
Story. Okay, I have one.
Okay.
So I took a listing this past year. A lady called me. She was listed with another agent. She reached out to me, wanted me to list her property. Obviously, I said that she had to no longer be active with this other agent, so she terminated. We had her property listed. She had lost her significant other due to cancer, which was she was still going through the process of everything. And I just did everything I absolutely could to help her and get her to Kansas. That's where she had other family from, and just really do everything I possibly can to make sure that her experience was the best experience that she could have, so that it alleviated all the additional stress that she was going through. And I mean, I've never cried during a transaction like yet until this experience, just because it warmed my heart. She just knew that I was giving everything I could and being selfless to make sure that, she had the best outcome for her. And we got her to the closing table. We had a couple hiccups along the way. As usual, there's always something that happens in a real estate transaction that's unexpected, but just having her know that I had her best interest and just doing whatever we had to do to make it possible for her. And, that's the most rewarding factor in real estate. It's like you said, it's the experience with people and, helping people. It's not, what you get out of it. It's what your contribution has done for their experience. I feel like, most people have some sort of expectation of what a real estate agent is, or bad things about what a real estate agent is because they had a bad experience, and just really recreating what a good experience looks like when you have the right agent advocating for you.
And it's one of the things that makes you so special about what you do. And Ashley, I want to thank you so much for coming onto the show and sharing just a piece of what you do. If anyone has a referral to Western Montana, Ashley Inglis is your person for Western Montana. I would not hesitate in any way, shape, or form to refer to you. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is the Real Estate Review with Alan Canis of Silicon Valley, and we look forward to seeing you next time.